Welcome along to the Timeform Sporting Life Weekend Preview. David Orr, joined by Ben Linfoot and Matt Brocklebank. Scoop, this time last week we were Epsom. Not quite the same level of fare to get our teeth stuck into this time around.
No, it's not, Dave, but you can't have the derby every week, can you? That's why it's so special. Epsom was fantastic, a really good two-day meeting. There was obviously the odd negative, i.e. the dash, things like that, but generally the racing was superb. This week, much lower key, but there's still winners to be found, Dave. And
that is a job of Ben Linfoot and Matt Brocklebank. Why they're on the show. We're going to start, Matt, with the 3:35 at Haydock. It's a Sky Bet John Of Gaunt Stakes. We've got the Timeform ratings graphics to take a look at. Top of the shop, good eye fens down under. Sorry, no, that's the best I've got for Australia. The astrologist for Australia, top, pound clear, Matt. Make the case for him if you can.
I can make the case for him, I think. Yeah, like you say, an Aussie, but not necessarily like one of these Aussie monsters that they have brought over to Ascot and stuff in the past, and certainly campaigned in the Northern Hemisphere. But he has come over after the really good run, the Alcoz. He went close out in Meydan. That was rock solid form. He's got good form as well over 7 furlongs back in Australia. He actually won at Ascot in Australia, the Australian Ascot. So sometimes what I'm trying to say is that the Aussie B team is sometimes just as good as the our kind of best around, and these horses aren't our best sprint 7 furlong horses around. So Ryan Moore's been booked. I suspect they were expecting a little bit more going into the Duke of York Stakes, but he ran a little bit flat, I'd say. I'm happy to put a line through that, and I'd expect to see a lot more from him. If he turns up with his very best, he's going to be the horse to beat, despite the penalty. He does have to give weight away.
And second in El Caballo with a question mark, 1-8 question mark. We have got video footage from him from Haydock at the last meeting. Just let us know which horse he is and talk us through this run.
He's in the light blue cap, Dave, towards the standside rail. And this was another good performance in last year's Sandy Lane Stakes. So we're going back 13 months ago. And I think this was a 6-timer for him. He was in fantastic form, had come off the all-weather and come back onto the turf here and beat what looked a pretty good field at the time, showing plenty of speed and a good attitude to get the job done. I think the cameraman might have backed him because he gets very excited in a minute. Here we go. There we go. But it was a really good performance from El Caballo. Now, the question mark is because that was 13 months ago and we've not seen anything like that since, because he was way down the field in the Commonwealth Cup at last season's Royal Ascot, and then off a near 300-day break. He was last at Doncaster in the listed Camage Trophy back on the 1st of April. Now, it was heavy ground that day, and I think you can probably strike a line through the run, but you do have to go back a fair while to get El Caballo's best form, and at around 3-1, he's pretty short enough, isn't he, for a horse that we just haven't seen any sort of form from for such a long time. But it's that sort of race. It's pretty trappy. If you're going back to his best form, he's got a really good chance. So there's just a few too many question marks for me.
Let's have a look at the Timeform pace map that we've got for this race. 7 furlong contest. Matt, the pace is El Caballo there from stall 3. It's a small field. I mean, shape-wise, how do you see this panning out?
Yeah, interesting one is the Wizard of Eye. He's been campaigning in pretty hot company. He and Jumbie, they're both running the Lockings last time out, and obviously Wizard of Eye wasn't able to kind of get to the front, but he has shown some versatility in the past. I suspect he might go forwards again in here and keep El Caballo company. Boardman, bit of a tricky one. He's generally held up, so he's more suited to kind of a bigger field handicap scenario, but he's clearly in good form, which is certainly not something you could say about the vast majority of this field. Boardman would like a strong pace to aim at. Not totally sure he's going to get it. The astrologist, you've kind of got Ryan Moore on your side. He's going to have him in the right spot, isn't he?
Selection time. What is the bet in the John Of Gaunt Stakes? Ben Linfoot.
I think it's really trappy. I'm going to go with the astrologist. I know he's got a £3 penalty in against this lot, but I think if he comes on from his York run, it could be a different gear to these. So I think he's disputing favouritism around the 3-1 mark. With a couple of them, my pin would probably land on him in a very trappy contest.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm with Scoop as well. I think the astrologist will probably win. Just on Jumbie, you kind of put in your hopes very much. He's run over 6 furlongs, I think, and a mile so far this year. Like I say, he took part in the Lockings, was well beaten. You're pinning your hopes on good ground, 7 furlongs, very much his thing. The Hungerford Stakes when he won last year, that was kind of his real peak performance, probably of his entire career. He's completely lost his way since, so it's a bit of a leap of faith. He's got a squeak, but I think the astrologist will probably put these to the sword, yeah.
Make sure you click like and subscribe, and also click on that notification bell to be notified of all of our latest videos. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Let's have a look now at the better betting with Sky Bet handicap at 225 at Haydock. A competitive affair. We've got the time farm ratings up on screen there. Live Your Dream, top of the shop, 122. Ben?
Yeah, well, you can see why he's top of the ratings, because he's well handicapped on his old form now. It is old form because he hasn't been seen for such a long time. It's 609 days since he was last seen, and the handicap has given him a chance on the back of the absence, as they so often do. And he's a horse who won the Heritage Handicap, the Bet365 Trophy at Newmarket's July meeting off a mark of 94. He was second in the SES trial off a mark of 101, and he's rated 100 here. So just purely from a handicapping perspective, he's got a good chance. The absence is the problem. But I'm just going to go down here for my Saeed bin Sarah stats.
Yeah.
So, Saeed bin Sarah, over 500 days off, 22 winners from 68 goes at 32.35%. Pretty good, Dave.
Chunky. Is there any more stats required? Or
no, that's the stats draw's closed now. Actually, maybe later on we might go back in there.
And please don't try to read Ben's bank account off the back of his bank card that came up with that stat. It's not available.
So, yeah, Live Your Dream. Look, he's time form top rated as well. The absence isn't much of a concern considering the stat just unleashed. But the problem I have is this is a 1.5 mile race, and Live Your Dream, the two pieces of form I just mentioned were over 1.6 miles and 2 mile 2. It might just be a bit on the sharp side for him. He's got a lot of good Newcastle form. He's won a handicap at Newcastle in the past, and he's entered in the Northumberland Plate, and I just wonder if it might be a bit of a tune-up for that race. So that's the negative.
Let's look at some video clue, Matt, here from Newmarket in May. Cumulonimbus, not easy for me to say. The horse, identify and talk us through this one.
Yeah, in front, made all here, red silks with a black cap. He frustrated me a little bit this day because I'd napped him prior to this when he run at Pontefract. He's a 4-year-old. He's only had the 10 races now. This was the 3rd career win, and it was his first run in cheap pieces. And as I said, he was on the front end throughout, and he was really brave in the end. He battled quite hard. He's only gone up £3 given the sort of narrow margin of victory at the line, but he is still lightly raced. A little bit more to come from him, but up in the weights a little bit. He's going to need to progress, I think, on this bare form. The runner-up that day, he's been well beaten since, so I don't think the form's absolutely red hot. It's a competitive race. He's top of the market. He might get the race run to set. We might come to that in a second, but yeah, I'd probably be against him in this.
The form's red hot, not red hot. This studio, isn't it? We're battling on though. Let's talk about, look at that pace map you touched upon there, Matt, how this race is going to be run. Ben, you look at that, does it lean you in any direction?
Well, it certainly advertises cumulonimbus's chance.
I made a bad job of that. I genuinely did.
Cumulonimbus's chance, yeah. I mean, I thought it was a good ride from Harry Davis last time from the front end, but he is very good at Newmarket. I think Harry Davis. Haydock is a different kettle of fish. Richard Kingscote rides it so well. Harry Davis is not from 13 around here, and I just wonder if he'll get the fractions right on this horse from the front. I think it'll be run at a solid enough pace. The time form pace forecast is very weak, but I think there's enough front runners in there just to get a nice even gallop, so I don't think there'll be any excuses. The one horse though, if it is very weak, that is just on my radar is this Dark Pine for David Loughnane, who is a bit of a tricky customer, and he needs everything to drop his way to have a chance. He was second on soft ground over 10 at Chester last time out, and he's unproven over 1.5 miles, but if it comes down to a bit of a turn of foot and he's in within 3 lengths or something with a couple of furlongs to go, I can see him laying down a strong challenge. So I think he's quite an interesting one, Dark Pine.
He's in the Dave Lucky 15 as well.
Do you think the same then? Because he is a bit of a tricky customer.
Definitely.
He's talented, and he's definitely well handicapped off 91.
He's really well treated. Laura Pearson gets a good chun. The only worry I had was the ground. I don't know if we'd need a thunderstorm.
He's not the only one in this field, I don't think. I think Pridwin would want it wetter. I thought the favourite, to be honest, I didn't mention that earlier, but Cumulonimbus, that would want
That's how to
a few clouds.
Effortless.
Want a few clouds around.
Get shirty. You can get shirty after a few
I can get very shirty.
He won the Al Newton Cup on soft ground at Haydock, so he's got the course form, but over this trip as well, I wonder if he might need it a little bit softer. But it's there's a fair few in there with chances.
Selection time, Ben.
Ooh, I do think I'm going to chance Dark Pine.
Matt?
I've got a fast ground horse for you, Dave. Cosmic Desert, one of the outsiders of the field. First run for TJ Kent. Is it Terry? Terry, of course it is. Newmarket based. He very consistent throughout his career for Charlie Appleby. The one bad run was the final run in the really competitive Old Rowley Cup. That was just in October. Prior to that, he'd won at Sandown quite nicely over 10 furlongs on Good to Firm. That was off 87, so he's only £4 higher. And it's not like he's changed hands for 100 grand. So hopefully he's going to be ready for this comeback run. Kent's not had a winner recently, but he's a trainer that can get them ready after a layoff. So I might just chance him each way if we're getting decent terms and a fair price.
I'm sure you will get both. Thank you to Matt and Ben for their thoughts on Saturday's action at Haydock, and best of luck with your own bets.